What's up guys, John the Tech here with LinksWell Automotive, shooting on site with my buddies over here at Redlands Toyota. Gonna do ourselves an install. Actually, this one's actually gonna be a beta Gen 5, but the install will be the same for the Gen 4. So I'm just gonna shoot this one. Again, not very polished, using my phone, but I wanna make it quick and easy for you guys to put in a Tundra radio. So here's our radio right out the gate. So this lower piece here is going to snap out, then our climate control is going to snap out, and then there's 4 10mm underneath here that are going to hold this radio in. So we'll be able to pull this radio out. So we're going to go ahead and get all this taken apart, and then we will look at the plugs, harnesses, and all that, and how to mount our radio. So let's get this apart. All right, cool. So we got it out. You can see here's the lower panel. The climate control and the radio are what come out. You're going to make sure you take off the yellow clips from the factory radio and the factory climate, move them over to our radio chassis. And you can notice there's 2 brackets, one on each side. So we're actually going to be able to retain one of the 10mm for each side of the radio, so your radio will actually be mounted. Right here, this little blank will actually pop out, so we'll be able to have a hole that we can reach an extension in there. I will be honest, it's going to take a little finesse, but it is doable to get an extension in here and mount that. One thing I'll show you, a little insider for Gen 5. That right there is a Toslink output. A lot of you guys asked about upgrading our audio processor, and we are doing that. So Gen 5 will have a Toslink out. You can see that right there. Gen 4 won't. So if you have a Gen 4 and you're watching this, sorry, but Gen 5 will. So that's that. So let's quick look at the harness. So these are all the plugs that came off your factory radio. So our harness is going to plug into all of that. A couple things to note: red and white for our aux in, for the factory aux in. There's a yellow for camera. You'll make sure that's plugged into our black factory reverse camera input. Also want to make sure your CAN box is plugged in, and notice, let me get it in frame here. There are 2 sides to it. I haven't plugged this side in, but this is going to plug into what was plugged into the factory climate. You can see that's this plug right here. So that's going to plug into the other side of the harness for the CAN box. I'm actually going to unhook this and run it up here behind it so it comes up here. Makes a cleaner install. I've got my microphone installed up here on the A-pillar. I just ran this way. If you want to get fancy, you can take this out here. This is where the factory one is. Remove the factory one and mount yours behind there. Just not something I can do on this install. That's all our plugs are plugged in. The air vents right here on both sides make a great spot for the nav antenna. I have the nav antenna on this side, Wi-Fi on this. It doesn't matter which one's which. I just don't want it under metal. So on top of these air vents works great for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab our radio, get it all plugged in, get it in there, and then I'll show again the blank and getting the extension in there. It's fairly simple. So you can see on the back of this radio that this chassis is going to come in. It's going to sit pretty close to this. So when you're putting the radio in and the wires in, you're going to want to do your best to reach back there and push the wires back so that they don't sit here. Because if they're sitting here and the radio goes on top of it, you're not going to be able to get the radio low enough to snap in. So make sure that when you're pushing those wires back that they don't fall and you don't end up putting the radio on top. So that's what we got going on. So let me hit pause and get this radio plugged in and snapped in, and then we'll look at mounting it. Okay, I lied. So real quick, you want to make sure you plug in this jumper right here in between the main power harness and the CAN box, and then this plug here, you're going to make sure this plug plugs into the back of the radio. It's going to go right underneath where the chassis is. You can see it right here. So you want to make sure that gets plugged in, otherwise your buttons aren't going to work. Now I'm going to mount it. All right, so we got it all in there. Like I said, make sure it took me a minute. I had to keep pushing those wires back, slowly going in. But you can see our third buttons down actually are blanks. Easiest is to pop them out actually from the back side before you mount it. and you can see it'll be nice and easy to get back there. So we're going to take our extension, we're going to put the bolt on there and reach it in there and mount it. I will real quick grab a little piece of tape and I'll show you an old school installer sort of life hack, I guess you could say, before magnetic sockets were a thing, and I'm a poor guy, so I ain't got no magnetic sockets. So give me 2 seconds real quick and I'll show you a little quick hack to kind of keep that bolt on that extension as you reach back there, and then we will mount it, we will power it on, and we'll talk about programming. So give me 2 seconds. All right, so first thing I did was I did tape my socket to my extension. I've had a couple times pulling back out and the lip will catch that and pop my socket off. And then I get really mad because I have to take the radio out to get my socket out. So I do tape that up. That's just my thing. But what you do is you just get a little bit of electrical tape like this, just a small piece, and you can see the lip right here on the bolt. So what you're gonna do is just barely get some tape on that lip to the socket so that it doesn't fall out, but not so much that you won't be able to pull the socket off of it. So you're going to leave it like this. You're going to slowly get it to thread a few times and then pop off the socket so that the tape lets go, and then tighten it down. And this will help you from trying to reach it down there, and every time you get to an angle the bolt falls out of your socket. Now it won't. Yeah, there you go. All right, let's mount this thing. All right, so we got it on. Turn the volume down. So once it's in, you're gonna have to program the climate controls. So what we'll do is we'll go to Home, go to Settings, and then System, Settings Guide, Car Model AC. And now we've got 3 selections for Tundra. Tundra Low, High, High with seat heaters. Low is your standard climate control. High is you've got dual climate or auto climate. And then Tundra High with seat heaters is you have auto climate with the seat heater or seat coolers. If you have seat heaters and seat coolers, make sure you're hitting Tundra High with seat heaters. If you have the auto climate but no seat heaters, make sure you're selecting High. And if you don't have the standard, or if you just have the standard climate control, make sure you select Tundra Low. And then it's going to send you to this third page. Double check, make sure protocol is set to simple. Car info, just leave it at 2018. And now what we're going to do, we're going to say okay. It's going to kick back, say can't find any logo file. Don't worry, that's fine, it's supposed to. And then there's a back arrow by the house, one time, and now we can see save and reboot down here at the bottom. We're going to hit save and reboot, and that will reboot it. And now our climate control will be programmed and everything will work. We made sure we put our blanks back on to make it all look pretty. And that's pretty much the install, guys, for a Tundra. Your steering wheel control should work. Climate control will be on screen, all that good stuff. So hope that helped. I got a lot of people asking about a Tundra install. Finally got an opportunity to do one. Sorry it's not pretty, but hopefully it's functional. All right, guys, keep installing, keep checking out. Hit the like, hit subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. You know the drill. Thanks, guys. Later.